Well, welcome. You guys ever find like a chair you just love? It's got the perfect lean to it. You can sit back and think about how smart you are sometimes. Oh, that was a really good idea. Or you can, pontificate about how annoying someone at work is or whatever. But you feel like you just feel comfortable. I feel like the chair's a part of you. Well, that's how I feel about this chair. This chair has been with me since college. I bought it. My friend Katie was with me. Shout out to Katie. Was with me when I bought this in an antique mall in Opelika, Alabama. I was in college at Auburn at the time. And it was ugly. It was ugly, but you could tell what it was. So this is classic wooden oak office chair. This thing was covered in like navy blue latex paint. It was really thick. Fortunately, the first thing I did to it was strip it. I did that in school. I got stripper, put it on there. This was that good stripper you used to be able to get. 15 minutes, the paint was off of it. I got to the stain level here and I didn't want to do anything further. I didn't necessarily know what to do further. And it looked good. It looked a lot better than the blue. Couple of things that are amiss that came about with this. So you'll see that one of these legs is pine. Someone replaced one of these oak legs with a piece of 2x4. But I've looked for wood to replace that. I can't find any oak that thick around me right now. If I do in the middle of this project, I'll introduce it. But so that's one problem. The other ones are a couple of these joints are a little loose. That one's got a little snap to it. This one you can see is apart here. I have bar clamps now. I don't have to try to put wood glue in there and strap a belt to it to try to get it to hold. I've got something better than a belt, so we'll clamp those down. But this has already been stripped. So there's not anything resembling finish on it. You can feel really bare wood, it feels like. I don't think we're gonna need to strip this. I hope not. I have a hand sander and a detail sander, and we're gonna try to clean this up down to wood with just the sander. So let's start. So the first thing you're gonna need is a sander. I've got a cordless hand sander. Applied 60 grit sandpaper in there. That's what we're gonna start with. Make sure it is tight. I expect a lot of dust. Oop, it's dead. So this project takes a lot of sanding. You can tell from the fudginess and just like how it's smudged on the finish here that the people who put the stain on originally probably didn't wipe it off. They probably just put it on and left it on. That's why it's like splotchy even now. It took several days of just sanding and sanding and sanding. You would either run the battery out on the electric sander, or you'd get that vibration feeling where you're tingling for an hour or two after you're done, or you would just get tired of doing it by hand. It takes a combination of all of the sanding, constantly kind of brushing and dusting, intermittently rubbing with mineral spirits to kind of get that off of there, or denatured alcohol, either one. So it's a lot. This was like the majority of this project was sanding, not refinishing. All right, I feel like I am kind of exhausted for doing this for maybe the night. Come back tomorrow and do some more. In the meantime, besides wiping this down, I'm gonna go ahead and try to glue that. I've got this about down to the bare wood. There are going to be some dark spots in here. If they're at the corners, you can take a little piece of sandpaper like this and try to get in there and rub it to get most of it out, but some of these things are good to stay dark. These like notches right here where it's got some wear in it, I'm not going to worry about getting those spots out. There's some on the leg right here. That's going to look good, and it's going to show age and in a, you know, graceful way. We are ready to stain this bad boy. So let's get started. I've got some gun stock stain. I have stirred it already. I've got a rag. Wait, this is my cleanup rag. Let's get this. We got this rag for stain that we're going to wipe this down with. Just get it good and wet. You want to let it sit there for 10 minutes. So what I'm actually going to do is start my timer. Start a timer for 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes and counting.
All right, so just keep track of where you start so that you know when this timer goes off, you can start cleaning up from there. So we're going to put this in here, dip it in here. I have another can in case we go through all of this. So I'm going to start on this arm. Apply it liberally. It's gonna stand. You're gonna see it kind of pooling on the side. And we may go again if it soaks it up. You can put more on it if you need to. So this. What's the timer at? 1 minute left. Yay. My minute timer is probably about to go off at any moment. That's 10 minutes. We're okay with that. We're going to start regardless. My timer's going to go off while I'm doing it, but we're going to start wiping this arm. There's my timer. That was about 2 seconds too fast, huh? So wipe that arm. And then we did this side, right? All right, now we are stained. We are ready to polyurethane this. So make sure you have a good brush and some polyurethane. Never shake this. You want to stir it before you use it. And what we're going to do is just go over this entire chair with one coat. You're going to be you're trying to go top to the bottom because this drips when you have extra. So you want to be able to constantly be able to kind of chase those drips and run them down. So we're going to start at the back of the top here. And you want to go with the grain. You want to use long, slow strokes. Don't get in too big of a hurry. That's easy for me to say, but harder for me to do. So I'm going to try to be slow here, but I'm also going to be speeding up this video so you can't tell how fast I'm going. All right, now isn't that some beautiful wood right there? Beautiful antique oak. Really glossy right now. It's gonna be glossy again. Glossier than I've ever seen it, at least. But we're gonna let this dry overnight. We're gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna sand it and apply again. But this layer looks all right. I'm mostly happy with this color. May have gone a little calmer with a pecan or a red oak. So what we have is a very, very fine, or 240 grit sandpaper. And we're just going to go over this very lightly, quickly, basically to take the top sheen off of it to make it even a little bit. Get some of that grit in there. so we're going to go over one more coat and then we'll let this dry. All right, welcome back. I am dressed in street clothes as I think we're done. This is dry, not tacky anywhere. It's very smooth. Anything that's even like the lightest grit will get rubbed down. I don't think this needs any other coats on it. It is beautiful. You can see a lot more of the wood than you could with that dark stain. This kind of orangey color from the gun stock is growing on me. I was a little afraid at first. I thought I should have done it a little lighter. I've wiped it with a cloth and no color. This was already there. Show you this clean cloth. I've wiped it and there's no color on there. All right, so I'm back. As you can tell, a little worse for wear. I made the mistake of walking over an invisible ice patch and breaking my collarbone a couple of weeks ago. I was ready to finish this project and release a video, but now I'm a little behind. So you can understand if my videos aren't coming out so often. I have a few projects I can do with one wing, so we'll work on those. This one is one of them. I thought I had finished this piece. I looked at it, and I looked at it some more, and I looked at it some more, and it was just, it's too orange. I knew it from the beginning, and I was trying to, you know, when you do something and you put work into it, you kind of want to like convince yourself you did a really good job. I mean, I think I did a good job on it, but it's just too orange. This color that I picked works better on something like the washstand where it's one piece, or it was a different type of wood that was like a white oak. This is like a red, so this soaked it up more, and it got orange. Also, the color on this is kind of uneven. So you can see some of these dark spots and the splotchiness in there. If I had used a dark color, I think that would have looked more even. The orange is a little big for a big piece of furniture. It's a little bright. You know, it's like kind of like my mom would say about someone with a big personality that was slightly obnoxious. You'd say, you know, he's a bit much, or she's a bit much. It's a bit much. You know, the orange is just, it's a bit much. And it's got this splotchiness, and it just doesn't look as good as I know this piece can look. So I had already polyurethane this. If you had gotten to the point where you decided and you admitted to yourself sooner than I did that the color wasn't right, then you can just go up. You can always darken a stain, you can't lighten it. So if you wanted to make it a little darker, you could do that. If you want to put a chestnut or a walnut on top of this gun stock, you could have. I put the polyurethane on there, which means that's another step of re-stripping to get back down to there, to maybe do this. I don't want to strip it again. I don't want to go through that again. I have a solution. I've looked it up online a little bit, done a little research, and this is what we're going to do. So we can put one more coat of polyurethane on it. I have changed from the semi-gloss to the satin now. I'm going to put a satin coat on it, so it's not as shiny. That wasn't necessarily a strategic one. It's just that also, in addition to being orange, it's a little shiny. We've got one caveat here. We are going to dye our polyurethane coat. So this is a blue dye. So orange, if you look at it on a color wheel, the complementary color, the opposite color, is like a bluish color. So when you put blue and orange together, it neutralizes and becomes more of like a brown. What we're going to do is dye this last coat of polyurethane. A mixing cup, you can find these cheaply online, and it's graduated. It shows how many ounces or milliliters are on here. Looks like something you'd get from your doctor one day if they were a little demanding, you know. So what we're going to do is test this. We're going to put a little bit of dye in. We're going to see how it looks. We're going to put a little more. We're going to see how it looks if we need it more. But we're going to do a little cheat. So who wants to do the one over and over, and if you did too much, then you have to go back and rub it back off really quick. I got a piece of plastic. This is film. This is an old film sleeve. But if you've got page protector or something that's thin plastic like this, that's not saran wrap, that's not like cling wrap, You can just paint the polyurethane over that, and then you can hold it up to it and see how it would look through it. Brilliant, right? Not my idea, I can't take credit for it, but polyurethane, we are gonna start with like, say, 4 or 5 drops. We're gonna stir it in and see how blue it looks. I don't know, I've never used this, so I don't, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 5. Stir that up. See how bluer than it was before. Still seeing some solids floating around in there, so I'm just gonna stir it until you don't see any solids. This is a lot bluer. Let it dry long enough that it doesn't run anymore. What color? I can't see if there is a color to that. I think I'm gonna need more already. So we're gonna get this really darker blue. All right, this is blue. There's no mistaking that this one's blue, so I'm just gonna go for it. Put it on there and see what it looks like when we get it on. Okay, so you'll notice that we let this dry and it's a little less bright. It's under these lights, so I don't know if you can really tell that in this photo, but it is a little more satin, which I think actually helps the orange not be as strong and the contrast kind of not work. So I'm happy with this. I don't know if there's a big difference in the color, the orange. I think it's calmer. So like my mom says, that little much part, it's kind of evened out. So this is, it still has an orange hue to it, but I think it looks a lot more natural. It is still somewhat orange, but the spots right here in this chair where it was very contrasty and you saw it looked like dark spots, it's minimized. So I think I'm happy with this. I'm gonna take this upstairs with some help. So thanks for watching. Follow me at The Butch Biscuit on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll have some more projects coming up. Maybe some more staining, probably more carpentry. Some gardening is coming up. It's spring. I got projects out the wazoo. As soon as my arm is better and the weather's better, we'll have some more projects to do. Take care.